We're going to have to rethink our relationship here.
George Conway has been through a lot. A former Republican, co-founder of the Lincoln Project, who was once married to that.
Alternative facts to that. But the point remains.
Wait a minute. Alternative facts?
Conway's now like a reformed smoker at a cigarette factory. He's pissed, as many of us are. But former Republicans have a greater right to be mad and a greater responsibility. And Conway takes it seriously, as you're about to see.
If you don't want to be held liable for rape, like Donald Trump has, don't grab the woman's genitalia. If you don't want to be held liable for defaming the woman that you raped, don't keep lying about what you did and calling her a nut job. If you don't want to be indicted for overthrowing the Constitution, don't start a self-coup. If you don't want to be indicted for stealing classified documents and obstructing justice, don't take the classified documents. When the government asks for it back, give them back. If the FBI serves you with a search warrant, don't hide the documents, and don't lie about it, and don't have your lawyers lie about it. This isn't that hard. Donald Trump is not the victim here. Donald Trump does all of these things to himself. And I agree with David. I mean, once upon a time, the Republican Party was the party not just of anti-hippies, but of personal responsibility and of law and order. What party? Where is that party? Here, no one's willing to hold, in the Republican Party, is willing to hold Donald Trump to account for his crimes that aren't really even in dispute. And no one is willing to call him out. Instead, he's going to get the nomination. That's just insane, and it just shows the degree of moral rot we have on the conservative side of politics today.
Scott Jennings, I think this is for you. Where is that party?
Well, I disagree with a number of things George said, of course. I mean, he's talking about these obvious crimes that were committed. I mean, he's talking about the obvious crimes that were supposedly committed, but that's the core of what a lot of decidedly non-MAGA Republicans are mad about, is that there is no underlying crime. I looked at the statement from Maine Senator Susan Collins, who I think encapsulated it perfectly. She said this was a partisan prosecutor who promised to get Trump. Nonsense. And that's what he did. Not promise to go after the law,
nonsense.
But he promised
nonsense.
to go after Donald Trump.
Whoa, stop right there. Here's what Alvin Bragg actually said. I've investigated Trump and his children and held them accountable for their misconduct with the Trump Foundation. I also sued the Trump administration more than 100 times for the travel ban, the separation of children from their families at the border, so I know that work. I know how to follow the facts and hold people in power accountable. Trump and his son stole from a charity that raised money for childhood cancer. What the hell is wrong with you people? Is it really that hard for you to choose? A sociopath who assaults women or kids with cancer? God damn.
And so the issue is here, what is the crime? He's never been indicted for or convicted of the campaign finance theory at the core of this case. And so Republicans are wondering today, you know, what do you have to do to build a defense against something you've never been convicted of in the first place? I'll tell you, the mood in the party, if you're sort of looking for a generalized attitude, reminds me a little bit about the Kavanaugh period. You go back to the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, 2018. I remember that period being the MAGA people were mad, the non-MAGA, the anti-Trump, the pro-Trump. Every wing of the party was vibratingly angry about what was being done to Kavanaugh. I feel and sense that the same thing is happening today, which is why I think you're probably going to see this backfire politically on the Democrats, and they're going to regret it.
I mean, George, I will say, I have heard from some people who really don't want to see Trump get elected in the Republican Party who are concerned that this particular case is just going to drive additional enthusiasm for the former president. I'm interested you respond to that, and you got your face in your hands. What do you got to say to Scott?
I have to say, look, Scott's lying, and that's the problem with the Republican Party. It is continually addicted to lies.
Wait a minute. What am I lying about?
You're lying, Scott. You're lying about the law. You're lying about what the jury was charged to find. They don't have to find an underlying crime. They had to find the intent to cover up an underlying crime. And the underlying crime was pretty obvious.
What was the crime?
You ran for public office, Scott. You ran for public office, Scott. You know you can't take money from somebody and reimburse them if it's a campaign expense.
I've never run for
damn
public
well.
office.
And Okay, fine. Well, you're close enough. You're involved in politics to know that, okay? So that's the problem with the Republican Party, is that they are suffused with lies. I don't know why this network is paying Scott to say those lies.
Whoa,
on his
okay.
morning
Let's
show.
not go there, George.
Ridiculous.
Please, let's not go there.
No,
okay?
we should go there.
Scott is our colleague, and we're going to treat him respectfully as such. Continue.
Well, you shouldn't lie.
Here's my question: If it is an obvious crime, why did the Department of Justice and the Federal Election Commission take a pass on it?
Well, the Federal
They
Election
should have
Commission-
prosecuted.
the
It should have been
Federal Election
prosecuted on January 21, 2021.
Well, again, Conway is right. Why do networks continually feel they need some phony balance? These people are beholden to a sociopath with 91 indictments, 34 convictions, 2 impeachments, a rape, a $500 million fine, infidelity with a porn star, takes Russian money, has never won a popular vote, blew the COVID response, has 6 bankruptcies, defrauded a children's charity, stole money from students, and over 30,000 verifiable lies. And you think CNN needs to broadcast their lies? MSNBC did the same idiocy by hiring Ronna McDaniel, who was behind the stolen election lie and the insurrection. You want balance? Try Cheney or Kinzinger, or hell, Conway is a Republican.
If you don't want to be held liable for rape like Donald Trump has, don't grab the woman's genitalia.
Here's the problem. Trump is gearing up for a violent fall, whether or not he wins. He's called for violence. He sent thousands of MAGA to kill Pelosi and Pence. He stole top secret documents and still has them. He has colluded with Russia, and the evidence is voluminous. His family made millions in office, and the Republican Party protects him. Why? Because like this Jennings guy, they're impotent little boys who are afraid to stand up for their beliefs. But Democrats still act like this is a fair game of politics. Trump is assembling a machine to dismantle our democracy, and we act like it's a volleyball game in the park. Do you see Fox or Newsmax hiring liberals and giving them a platform? The one progressive voice on Fox is shouted down by these mopes whenever she begins to unravel their BS narratives.
Worried are you that there could be violence emerging from all of this by Trump supporters?
Oh, not at all. Donald Trump's supporters are not violent people.
Fuck these Democrats! Weren't Trump supporters involved in the January 6th violence at the U.S. Capitol?
Well, if a few people were violent, certainly, but I don't think the majority of Donald Trump's supporters are violent.
CNN gives J.D. Vance airtime. He's the same guy who once called Trump Hitler, but now talks about January 6th like it was a bar fight and not a violent attack on vote certification where 100 cops were beaten so bad they needed hospitalization. CNN's pathetic attempt to draw in MAGA is like putting perfume on your dog's ass. MAGA doesn't want both sides told. They want the same old blather from this brain-dead syphilitic skin tag. It's the same reason why Trump didn't testify. If any of these Republicans were put on record, they know what would happen, and it's called perjury.
Answer questions about anything. So the fact that he's not willing to take questions, follow-ups about what he said about this case, that's surprising and suggests that maybe he doesn't have a lot of answers.
No, I mean, it is very unlike him, extremely unlike him.
Of course, Trump won't take questions because the answers would be a mixture of lies and cognitive hiccups.
For all of the above reasons, I respectfully decline to answer the questions.
Or Trump might slip up and tell the truth, and that's the one thing that could bring him down. The irony here is as thick as Tiny Finger's 56-inch waistline, and CNN and MSNBC need to learn a lesson and learn it quick. Putting liars from Trump's camp on air plays right into their unsophisticated plan. Lie and keep lying until someone believes it.
Alternative fact.
That's why Republicans are lobbying hard to force car manufacturers to keep AM radios in cars.
I will do my part to protect AM radio in our cars. You know, we like to listen to AM radio.
Because it's the medium they love, with pimply-faced incels spewing their hate like a wood chipper. Limbaugh was the front runner in this hate festival, and his spirit is like a fart in a phone booth, alive and drifting through the Republican Party like a noxious cloud. There was a time, I'm getting tired of saying that, and so is Conway.
Is that they are suffused with lies. I don't know why this network is paying Scott to say those lies. On his morning show.
Let's not go there, George.
The Republican Party wants a seat at the table, but first they have to prove they're capable of a discussion that is not littered with Trumpian stool samples. And CNN, if you're not going to stand up to the lies for America, or your pride, or your professionalism, how about for the 12 men and women who, unlike anyone on this panel, actually reviewed the facts and came to a unanimous conclusion that Trump is a criminal and the Republican Party is his accomplice.
Damn right.
I want to be a dictator.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Am I wrong?
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I'm Chip Franklin.